All right, here we go. Strap yourself in for the Battle of the Pelenor Fields. It's going to be a long one. That's why the deck building segment's in a different video. All right, the campaign card says, set each Harad enemy recorded in the campaign log aside out of play. The first player attaches Andril and the Banner of Elendil to Aragorn and sets him aside out of play. We're going to add the Corsair fleet to the staging area, Gondor side face up, and we're going to place X resources on it, where X is the number recorded in the campaign log. We're going to remove a bunch of burdens, and then flip the card over, and it says when we advance to stage 5B, we're going to add those Harad enemies to the staging area. So what I like to do is put them right in the quest deck, so when I get to stage 5, I don't forget to do that. Alright, Aragorn is being set aside out of play. We have the Corsair fleet with 5 resources on it. We remove a resource at the beginning of every quest phase that acts as the clock for when Aragorn is going to show up. Overcome by Grief is still in the staging area, and we still have these 3 boons helping us. So let's put both of the attachments on Éowyn, and then let's add Old Bogey Stories to my hand. Okay, 1A, the Garrison of Gondor. We're going to set Minas Tirith, Grond, the Witch King, and each copy of Wraith on Wings aside. We're going to search the encounter deck for a copy of Pelenor Field and make it the active location. Give the encounter deck a shuffle and then attach the boons Esquire of Rohan and Esquire of Gondor to different heroes. Okay, so let's set these cards aside. And then Esquire of Gondor says the attached hero gains the Gondor trait, and they also get +1 willpower when questing with another Gondor character. And then the Esquire of Rohan gives the attached hero the Rohan trait, and they get +1 attack when attacking with a Rohan character. Obviously meant to go on Merry and Pippin, but we're going to give Éowyn the Esquire of Gondor, which will be useful, and then Dunhir will get the Esquire Rohan, which will not be useful. Alright, the Pelenor Field is the active location. It's just a 2/4, and it has an effect dealing with placing progress on locations in the staging area, which we don't have any cards that do that, so that doesn't matter. 1B, 2 progress needed, skip the quest phase and the combat phase, and then at the end of the planning phase, place 1 progress here. So we're going to get a free round, and we need it. You definitely need a free round in this quest, so we're going to try to make sure we take advantage of that. And whoa, what the heck is going on? Okay, here is my first loss that I recorded. So basically I was getting enemy swarmed, definitely damage swarmed. I had a lot of red on the table. I revealed this guy, and he makes an immediate attack. I'm going to have Denethor defend. I was already on the ropes on this quest. You can see all the die on Minas Tirith. Pretty bad. And then +2 if it's Harad. So that killed Denethor. Okay, and then my second game, I also lost. This one just honestly wasn't going well. I got all my attachments in, so if you watch the deck building video, I talk about the attachments I need to find. I'm doing really good there. I just could not get the ally swarm going. I didn't draw into any of my Gandalfs or Very Good Tales or the Soldier of Gondor, like all of the cards that help me find more allies. I just wasn't finding. You can see that because of all the resources I have on my heroes. That means my card draw has failed, and then this mechanic at this stage, I have to discard cards till I get an enemy, and the enemy that I get is the Mumak, which of course is terrible, and it's archery. And then during staging, I reveal a second Mumak after I get a surgy little orc. So both Mumaks, there's only 2 in the deck, and both of them came out in the same round, and eventually I got overwhelmed with the archery, and I wasn't able to kill anything, which wasn't helping either. So yeah, this one just one of those games where my deck didn't work and the encounter deck was working very well. So those 2 things can definitely kill you. Now let's take a look at the third game. This one is the win. Now here's something crazy that happened. So in the previous 2 games, I took a mulligan both times, and in one of the games I played Old Bogey Stories. So that's drawing 6 cards 5 times, and in each of the times I have drawn a Gondorian shield, every single time. And it's a card I need. It's just very strange that I cannot stop drawing the Gondorian shield. But it's a card I'd like to see in my opening hand, but I also need card draw and a weapon. Let's see, we got an ally, foe hammer, condition removal, Gondorian shield, foe hammer, and Faramir. Okay, well, both copies of foe hammer ended up in my opening hand. No weapon, which is a real bummer. If I had a weapon in those 2 copies of foe hammer, that'd be amazing, because I know by drawing all those cards with foe hammer, I'd be able to get a bunch of allies in. Faramir's great, but, expensive. So I'm hoping in this next opening hand, I get one weapon to put on Dune here. And I would really like some cheap allies. I'd like to try to get an ally swarm going as fast as possible. In every game that I've won with this deck, I just have a turn where I just pump out a ton of allies all at once. I play a couple allies and I use a very good tail, and then Steward's helping to pay for like the Herald of Anorian, which Doom 2 puts in another ally, and I'm drawing them with Soldier of Gondor. So there's definitely ways to draw a bunch of allies and get them in play. You just have to hit it. So let's see what I get on this mulligan. I got to keep it. There's a weapon. All right, Spear of the Mark, Visionary Leadership. There's a cheap ally. Second Visionary Leadership. Honor Guard. Shield. Okay, well, I'm 7 for 7. I have drawn 7 6-card hands, and I have drawn the shield in every single one of them. Absolutely insane. Okay, so Denethor starts the game with 2 resources, and he can pass a resource to a hero with the Gondor trait, and Éowyn has the Gondor trait, and I can't freaking believe it. I drew another shield, and you could tell I'm kind of ticked because there's so many other cards that I need. I cannot believe that I managed to draw a second copy of that stupid shield. And it's like, well, how mad can I get? I need it. But, all right, putting it on Denethor, he can defend for 5. Putting the Spear of the Mark on Dune here, so when he attacks into the staging area, he's attacking for 5. His Esquire boon only helps him if he's attacking with another Rohan character, which really isn't going to happen. And then, let's see, I could play the Envoy, who can give a resource to Éowyn or Denethor after I play her. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to see what I draw so I know where to put those resources. So let's go into the next round. I placed the progress. We skip the quest phase. We skip the combat phase. And the next round, I draw a sneak attack. So if I get Gandalf, I'm going to be in a really good spot. All right, I'm going to play Visionary Leadership on Denethor. So it costs 2 resources. And as long as he has a resource in his resource pool, Gondor characters quest for +1. Now I'm going to play the Envoy of Pelegir. She costs 2 neutral resources, and then she can give a resource back to a Gondor or Noble. So I'll put that on Éowyn. Éowyn will spend her 2 resources, and we will put in the Honor Guard, who you exhaust to cancel a point of damage just dealt to somebody. So between the shield and the Honor Guard, Denethor can basically defend for 6, so that's awesome. That's really, really good. Okay, I'm done with planning. We place the progress, and we advance to Stage 2. Retreat from Osgiliath. When revealed, each player adds 1 set-aside Wraith on Wings to the staging area and reveals an encounter card. Then, starting with the first player, each player discards cards from the top of their deck until they discard an ally that is not in play. We put the discarded ally into play in the staging area, and we treat its text box as if it was blank until the end of the phase. Okay, Wraith on Wings is a 45 engagement, 0/6/4/12 Nazgul. The setup you ignore because this card actually started the game not in play. And then it cannot have non-Morgul attachments. Wraith on Wings gets +1 threat and -1 engagement cost for each resource on it. Forced, at the beginning of the quest phase, place 1 resource on Wraith on Wings, limit 5. So it's eventually going to be 5 threat if you don't take care of it. The card we reveal is the City Wall. So it's a 3/4, and then while it's the active location, it takes damage before Minas Tirith does. I'll explain that in a moment. Okay, so now we're going to discard cards until we get an ally. Our top card is an ally, not surprising. Lots of allies in the deck. It's a Knight of Balthlos, so it's a 2-cost ally. Now side 2B, X progress needed. X is the cost of all the allies in the staging area. Allies in the staging area are treated as if their text boxes are blank, they're immune, they're under no player's control. You can't mess around with them, basically. And then forced, at the end of the round, we assign damage among allies in the staging area equal to the number of enemies in the staging area. So either we need to quest and make 2 progress, or we let the Knight of Balthlos die, and then we'll advance to stage 3. Okay, so let's look at what's happening in the quest phase. The first thing that happens is we're going to place a resource on the Wraith on Wings, and then we're going to remove a resource from the Gondorian fleet. So Aragorn is now 4 turns away, and let's go questing. Éowyn is questing for 4, and then she has the Gondor trait, and because Denethor has a resource, Visionary Leadership gives her +1, so she's 5. And then she's also +1 because she has that boon, which just gives her +1 willpower if she's questing with a Gondor character. So by herself, she's questing for 6. She also starts the game with -3 threat, so she's only a 6 threat hero, and then I can raise my threat by 3 to give her a big bomb attack that I'm hoping to do against the Witch King. So let's send her and the envoy, who's also questing for 1 more, thanks to visionary leadership. So we're going to be sending a total of 8, and we are up against 4. And we get Spells of Ruin. Sorcery, when revealed, either deal 1 damage to each exhausted character or 5 damage to Minas Tirith. So it looks like I'm dealing damage to exhausted characters. So I don't want the envoy to die. So I'm going to exhaust the Honor Guard to block that 1 damage from killing her. Eowyn takes a damage. And we do make 4 progress. So we do clear the Pelenor field. I think I will travel to the wall. It would have been nice to keep it in the staging area for when I have Minas Tirith in play, because it's actually a pretty good location to help us. I mean, it's the wall of Minas Tirith, but let's travel there, get the threat out of staging. And then I was going to end the round, and then I realized, hey, wait, I can actually attack into the staging area with Dune here for 5 and deal 1 damage to that Wraith on Wings. So let's do that. And then because there's 1 enemy in the staging area, the Knight of Belfast is going to take 1 damage. He's 1 hit point away from dying. And let's go into the next round, and hopefully I don't draw a Gondorian shield. Okay, instead of a Gondorian shield, we get a Gondorian Steward. I'll take it. All right, Steward of Gondor. Going on Denethor, I spend 2 resources, and then I exhaust it and get those 2 resources right back. And then I got a handful of nothing. I don't really have anything I want to play, so either I'm going to have to wait till I get to 6 cards, and then I'll use Old Boogie Stories to shuffle it away, or hopefully I draw something useful here. Okay, let's add a resource to the Wraith on Wings. Let's remove a resource from the Gondorian fleet. Aragorn's 3 turns away. Come on, Aragorn, hurry up. And then let's see if I can save this Knight of Belfast. Once again, I am questing for 8. I am up against 2. And the card we reveal... okay, here we go. Yep, this can happen. So the Surging Mordor Orc, and that's going to surge into... this art. Good golly. Good job, artist. You nailed it. Okay. Dread and Despair. So doomed 1. And now I need to discard an ally I control. So I'm going to discard this envoy. And then I'm supposed to add 1 to the threat for every ally in my discard pile, which would be 1. I don't do that. It's not going to matter. But I should have made 1 less progress than what I show here. So we do not clear the wall. So we're going to place what should be 2 progress on the wall. And now we have a decision to make. So if I want to save the Knight of Belfast that's up there in the staging area, this is supposed to represent all the soldiers of Gondor fleeing from Osgiliath, fleeing from the Ramus and going back into the city. This is where Faramir takes that dart. If I want to save him, what I can do is I can engage the Wraith on Wings, and then I can have Dune here attack into the staging area, because he's attacking for 5 when he attacks into the staging area alone. And he can kill that little Mordor orc. So there would be no enemies in staging, which means the Knight of Belfast will not take a damage. But that does mean the Wraith on Wings is going to be engaged with me until I kill it. And it's attacking for 6. So that's risky. But I think for this quest, we got to play risky. You got to take big risks. So initially I was just going to kill that orc, and then I decided, you know what? I'm going to engage the Wraith on Wings. I can handle an attack of 6 with the Honor Guard, and we'll just see if I can't draw a Gandalf or something, and we eventually kill the Wraith. So high risk, but high reward. So let's do that. We're going to engage the Wraith on Wings. It's going to attack. Denethor is going to defend for 5, and the Shadow is another one of those Mordor orcs, which is bad if Minas Tirith's in play, but it's not. So there is actually no Shadow effect, so I can exhaust the Honor Guard, so we do not take a damage. And then Dune here can attack into the staging area and kill the Mordor orc up there. There's no enemies in the staging area, so the Knight of Belfast is still alive. And we will go in to the next round. And now I'm... it's nerve-wracking knowing I have this Wraith on Wings engaged with me now for like the rest of the game until I kill it. And I get a second sneak attack, so man, Gandalf would be perfect. I could take care of that Wraith so easy if I had a single Gandalf. But I don't. All I have is a lot of resources. So the one thing I'm doing good with is now I can quest a lot easier because I don't have this Wraith constantly gaining threat and eventually being a 5. So as long as I can defend it, questing is a lot easier. So I have nothing in staging. I have to make basically 4 progress if I want to save this knight and advance to stage 3. So if I quest for 6 against nothing, and then we get... Okay, here we go. The Ramus is breached. When revealed, we're going to search the encounter deck and discard pile for an enemy and put it in play. Engage with us. I'm going to grab one of these little surgy orcs. This is a card I was not excited to see because my hope was I didn't have to engage a second enemy with such a low starting threat. I was hoping I could just keep killing enemies up in staging and then only defend this Wraith. Now I have an enemy engage with me plus the Wraith. That's bad. But what's good is we advance to stage 3, the White City Besieged. When revealed, each player takes control of each ally he owns in the staging area and exhausts it. The first player adds Minas Tirith, Grond, the Witch King, Captain side face up, to the staging area. Each other player would search the encounter deck and discard pile for a different enemy and add it to the staging area. We're going to give the encounter deck a shuffle. Alright, so let's take control of this Knight of Belfast. It's going to be exhausted, and we're going to add a whole bunch of cards. So, Minas Tirith. It's an objective. It's a Gondor city. It has 30 hit points plus 10 for each player, and then forced. At the end of the round, deal 1 damage to Minas Tirith for each enemy in the staging area. Then, if Minas Tirith has no hit points remaining, we're going to lose the game. So that's a counter going on. We also have Grond. X threat. 3 progress needed. It's immune. X is the number of resources on Grond. And then forced. At the beginning of the quest phase, place 1 resource on Grond, then deal X damage to Minas Tirith, and then to travel there, the Witch King is going to make an immediate attack against each player in turn order. Well, I'm sure he's not too bad, right? No, he's terrible. He's a 6/6/6. I see what you did there. He's 50 engagement, 14 hit points. Nazgul, this is the captain side. He's immune. He cannot be optionally engaged. He cannot take damage. And then forced, at the beginning of the quest phase, we're going to discard cards from the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded, and then add the discarded enemy to the staging area. At least we don't have to reveal it. But, yep, so as long as we're at this stage, we're going to be seeing at least 2 cards around. One of them is an enemy. Ay. This is pretty crazy. Okay, let's take a look at side B. 4 progress needed, but it gets plus 4 quest points for each player, so we're going to be at 8. It also has the assault keyword, which means we cannot place progress from questing, and if we underquest, instead of raising our threat, we're going to place damage on Minas Tirith for that amount. We also cannot travel to any Pelenor locations, and then forced. When an enemy is destroyed, we're going to place progress on this stage equal to that enemy's threat. Progress must be placed on the active location first, and if we are at a location, the progress we make from questing can go on there. So basically, the only way to get through this stage is to kill enemies, and anytime we underquest, Minas Tirith's taking damage, along with all the other effects that are damaging Minas Tirith. Lots to keep track of here. Okay, well, I'm definitely not traveling to Grond because I can't take an attack from the Witch King, and let's get attacked by this Mordor Orc and a Wraith on wings. So Denethor will defend first, 5 against 6. Whew, no shadow, and that siege tower is pretty much what wrecked me that one game. It's so much archery when it's in staging. The Honor Guard keeps Denethor from taking a damage. Undefended here, and the Mordor Orc says if we take an attack undefended, the damage goes on Minas Tirith instead of one of our heroes. So 2 damage on Minas Tirith, and then I can attack with Dune here, and looks like I have enough to kill this Mordor Orc, just barely, because the spear only gives him +1, and he's not attacking with any Rohan characters, so it was just an attack of 3. But that was enough. So we actually place a progress on the stage. 7 to go, and we are going to go into the next round, and I need that turn where I swarm my board state with allies. If I don't get that turn quick, I'm pretty much screwed. I have tons of resources. I just need the cards. Come on, Gandalf, please. No, Legolas. Okay, well, I can pass a resource to Eowyn with Denethor's ability and put Legolas into play. So I was going to do that because it's the only card I could play. And then I realized Legolas is actually my 6th card. And since I have old bogey stories, I think it makes a lot more sense to keep Legolas in my hand as my 6th card, play old bogey stories, shuffle those 6 cards into my deck, draw 6 other cards. Hopefully none of them are the Gondorian Shield, and I hope I get allies and very good tails and just I need my board state to get bigger here. So hopefully this is going to be a good decision, and we are going to draw 6 good cards. Okay, the cards we get are Soldier of Gondor, great start. Faramir, yes, a second soldier, steward, reforged, Gandalf. There we go. There we go. That is great. That was an excellent decision. I wish I would have got a sneak attack instead of that steward, but let's start out playing the Soldier of Gondor, just a nice stat line, and then 2 costs, and then I get to look at my top 5 cards and add any Gondor character to my hand. If I was in Valor, I'd add all Gondor characters to my hand. We grab the Citadel Custodian. Now, he's really good for every Gondor ally on the table. So in multiplayer, it's everybody's allies. For every Gondor every Gondor ally on the table, you would reduce his cost by 1. So he's pretty easy to get in for free. And with 3 hit points and a very good tail in this deck, he's excellent. Okay, let's spend 4 resources. We're going to put in Faramir. He was very active during this quest in the novel. He, was helping defend Osgiliath and then the Ramus, and he kept everybody together as Gandalf rode out. And then he got hit by that black dart, which poisoned him and took him out of the rest of the battle. Okay, I could afford more of these cards right now. I've already used Steward. I just forgot to put a token on it. But actually, I think we're okay. Let's just go into the quest phase with the board state we got. Now that I have Faramir and Visionary Leadership, I can really boost my willpower. And next turn, Aragorn will be showing up. I was doing some math to see if I played Gandalf, deal 4 damage to that Wraith on Wings, and then use Gandalf in the combat phase, could I kill the Wraith on Wings? And I could not. But next turn, I should be able to. Okay, so here come all the triggers at the beginning of the quest phase. Aragorn's counter goes down to 1. The Wraith on Wings threat goes up to 4. We discard cards from the Witch King Captain until we get an enemy. And the enemy we get is one of those little Mordor orcs. That's great. And then we place a resource on Gron. That makes Gron's threat 1, and it also deals 1 damage to Minas Tirith. That reminds me that at the end of the round, I should have dealt a damage to Minas Tirith because I had 1 enemy in the staging area. So Minas Tirith is now at 4 out of 40. Okay, when I add up all the threat in the staging area, we have a total of 8. That's not bad, not yet. It's nice having that Wraith on Wings not in the staging area, because then it would be 12, obviously. So if I commit the 2 Gondor allies with willpower, they are currently questing for +1, thanks to Visionary Leadership. So they are questing for 4, and then Eowyn is questing for 6, because she has the Gondor trait, which gives her the Visionary Leadership boost, plus the boon itself gives her +1. So that will be 10 against 8, and then I can use Faramir to boost it. And, man, I was hoping we were avoiding this card, because I've already seen 2 as shadows. So it's a 3/3 Siege Tower. While it's in the staging area, Archery 3. And then when it becomes the active location, so you can't use any tricks to get it there, it's when it becomes the active location, we shuffle in the encounter discard pile and discard cards so we get an enemy. And that stinks because I really like not having those other siege towers in the encounter deck. But I think we just got to do it. I can't have Archery 3 hitting me every round. That'll kill me. So we did underquest by 1, which means instead of raising our threat, we deal a damage. I'm just going to take 1 damage on Minas Tirith instead of using Faramir. I think I'll leave Faramir ready for combat, because now that we traveled to the siege tower, I discard cards so we get an enemy. We get the Morgul Captain. He's a 35 engagement, 3/3/1/4. He has a when revealed that would make us put the topmost orc enemy in the discard pile engaged with us, but we added it so we don't have to trigger that, and there is no orc enemy in my discard pile because I just shuffled it in. Let's optionally engage the little orc. I see that Dunir is exhausted, which took me a long time to figure out how that happened, and I realized I just never removed the exhaustion token. So I'm engaged with 2 enemies. The Wraith on Wings is going to attack for 6, and the little orc for 2. So Denethor is going to defend 5 against 6. That's a great card to see go away. Honor Guard will keep Denethor from taking any damage. And then I can defend with 2 defense on Faramir against 2. Discard a non-objective attachment. Okay. I will get rid of... let's see. I do have Reforged. I have another Steward in hand, so this isn't the worst thing. But I'd rather spend resources on allies, so I think I'll just get rid of this Lembas. I'm thinking I'm not going to need it. I'm really hoping to use Lembas at some point in the last 3 quests of the game, because those are going to be very hard. So let's keep Lembas around and discard it. Okay, so we survived those attacks with no damage. And then Dune here can either kill the little orc I'm engaged with, or the one up in staging, because he can attack for exactly 5. And let's just kill the one up in staging. 3 progress gets put on the quest, but it goes on the active location first, so we get rid of that siege tower. 1 enemy still in staging, so Minas Tirith goes up to 6. And we're going to go into the next round, and Aragorn's coming in. I think I'm also going to play Gandalf. This is going to be a big turn, so hopefully when I play Gandalf, I'm going to draw some amazing cards. So let's trigger Steward, and what do we draw? We draw, okay, Bulwark of the West. So that is how I can get rid of condition attachments, which is pretty great. So let's play a Soldier of Gondor. I get to look at my top 5 cards and choose a Gondor ally. I got 2 of them. I have the Knight of the White Tower and the Knight of Belfast. I think the Knight of Belfast is a better choice, because then I can pull that Envoy out of my discard pile and put it in my hand. And the Knight of the White Tower I'm hoping to get in play with a very good tail if I ever draw one. So let's do that. I have plenty of spirit resources to put this guy in. He lets me grab a Gondor character out of my discard pile, which will be the Envoy. So it's 2 neutral resources. And then I get to give a resource back to a Gondor or Noble. So that's Éowyn or Denethor. I think I will spend 1 off of Dune here, 1 off of Éowyn, and then I'll give the resource to Denethor, because I still haven't triggered Denethor's ability. So he could pass a resource back to Éowyn. That seems like it makes the most sense. So now I control more than 5 Gondor characters. So I can put in the Citadel Custodian for free. So that's really great. All right, so we've played 3 allies this turn. This is going great. Now, Gandalf. And I wasn't thinking, when I spent these resources, I should have left 1 on Denethor. I forgot about Visionary Leadership. So I'm going to retcon this in a minute and give him a resource back and spend Dunhere's instead, I believe. All right, I'm going to draw 3 cards. And the cards I draw, there we go. All right, Merry, Defender of Ramas, and a very good tail. Oh, that's excellent. Okay, that is super excellent. So I kept 2 resources on Éowyn, so I can put in this Defender of Ramas, and then now if I want, I can trigger a very good tail, or I could wait to the end of the round when Gandalf is ready before he leaves play. And there I am moving the resource, like, Chad, you idiot. Why would you leave 1 resource on Dune here? That makes no sense. Leave a resource on Denethor. There's no allies in this entire deck that cost 1 spirit resource, so it made no sense to leave a resource on Dune here. Okay, 1 resource going on Grand, so now that means 2 damage going on Minas Tirith, and then the final counter gets removed from the Corsair fleet, so that means Aragorn is here. Aragorn has arrived with the black sails and just demoralizes the enemy. So here we go, we have Aragorn, he also has Andriel, he has the Banner of Elendil, so that means he does not exhaust a quest, and anyone questing with him gets +1. So between Visionary Leadership, the Banner, and then Faramir, I can boost a lot of these characters by 3. All right, let's discard cards until we get an enemy. There we go. It's a new one. It's the Southron Champion, a 34 engagement, 2/4, 2/4. And then when he's dealt a shadow card with no shadow effect, we either deal 3 damage to Minas Tirith, or he's going to make an additional attack. I'm hoping I can leave him up in staging and just kill him with Dune here. I need Dune here to get a little more attack power. Okay, so now what I'm trying to decide, and I spend a lot of time, is I want to make sure I can kill this Wraith on Wings. I know I'm revealing 1 more card, at least. It might be an enemy. I just am trying to balance out how much damage can I let Minas Tirith take and still kill the Wraith on Wings, and can I maybe travel to Grand and take the attack from the Witch King as well. So sending Éowyn, Aragorn, and the Custodian, I am sending 12. I am not too concerned about damage going on Minas Tirith from underquesting. All right, the first card we reveal is the Fell Beast. I'm not too excited about this because that changes everything. It's going to surge, and the enemy it gets attached to gets +1 to all their stats. So now I got to redo all my math. If I put it on the Witch King, it gives him +1 threat, and then if I travel to Grand, he gets +1 to his attack. So it might make more sense to put it on the Wraith on Wings. I think I can still handle the attack and kill it. So you can see me going back and forth trying to figure it out. I was not happy to see that card. That makes everything a lot more difficult, and it's going to surge. So I still have one more card coming. So I'm really trying to figure out exactly what to do here. And I'm not going to cut away or edit or speed up because I want you to see how long some of these decisions I make actually take, where I really am going through the math and going through a bunch of possibilities in my mind. And also, I think this is a great example of why Spirit Theoden would not have been a good hero choice for this quest. His cost reduction, that doesn't matter. Look how many allies I have in play without having Olorian, the 12 threat hero that he is. It's really important that your heroes are helping you in the way you need help. And Dune here is such a better Rohan hero for this quest because attacking into the staging area, that's just one less attack I have to take. His low threat and ability to kill enemies in the staging area, that means I don't have to defend them. And it's just so helpful because this turn, I'm anticipating at least 3 attacks. One from the Witch King, one from the Wraith on Wings, one from the engaged little orc. I might be revealing another enemy. If I get a little orc as a shadow, that's going to engage me. So yeah, I feel really good about Dune here, helping me out here. So I decide to truly put the Wraith I'm engaged with on wings, so it's +1 to everything. And now it's going to surge. Please don't be a Mumak. Please don't be a Mumak. Siege Tower. Okay, so as long as that's in the staging area, it's archery 3. That's not a big deal. I have a lot of hit points on the table right now. So we are currently underquesting by 1. So I'm not going to use Faramir. I'm just going to put 1 damage on Minas Tirith. And now another decision. Do I want to travel to the Siege Tower? If I do, I'm getting another enemy added to the staging area. Or do I travel to Grond and get attacked by the Witch King? I think this is the turn I traveled to Grond. I think I can handle it and still kill this Wraith on Wings. So, yeah, okay. Big turn. Let's do it. So this was the turn. I added a bunch of allies. So this was the big ally explosion turn I was hoping for. And it's super thematic because I feel like this is the 3rd hit by Grond. Thrice the great ram boomed, and suddenly upon the last stroke the gate of Gondor broke, and in rode the Lord of the Nazgul, under the archway that no enemy ever yet had passed. We have a numbers advantage right now, so let's do it. So Denethor's defending, 6 against 5, and attacking enemy gets +1. If it destroys a character, deal damage to Minas Tirith. Okay, well, the Honor Guard can block 1 of the damage, so now Denethor has 1 damage on him. That's not great. And then we go into combat, and we have Archery 3. So let's do Archery 3. I almost started to defend and then remembered. So I was going to put it on Gandalf, but then I realized this Wraith on Wings is now attacking for 7. So if there's any sort of boost to the shadow, Gandalf will die. I do not want Gandalf to die. So let's put 2 on the Honor Guard and then 1 on the Citadel Custodian. So we took care of the archery. Now I just have to hope Gandalf doesn't die. So please don't die. Please don't die. Please don't die. Okay, we're good. So Gandalf takes 3 damage, and that is awesome because I have a very good tail in hand, so I can still use it at the end of the round. So very excited about that. Let's defend with the Defender of Ramas, and yep, there we go. So the Defender of Ramas handles the attack no problem, but the Shadow is one of these little orcs, so that means I engage it, and it gets dealt a Shadow card. So now, once again, I got to do some math, because I want to make sure I have enough attack to kill this Wraith on Wings. And I want Dune here to also kill an enemy by himself, so I can't use him in the attack against the Wraith on Wings. It's important to keep trying to clear out the enemies if I can. So when Aragorn attacks, anyone attacking with him gets +1. So I can't use him to defend. I absolutely need him. So I'm going to take it undefended. Deal 1 damage to Minas Tirith. Okay, so when you take these little orcs undefended, they say the damage goes on Minas Tirith. So that was 3 more damage. So we're at 12 out of 40. And now we can swing back. So hopefully I did all my math right. So Aragorn for 4, and then everybody else is boosted by 1 that's helping. So doing all the math right with the Envoy, Faramir, 2 Soldiers of Gondor, 2 Knights of Belfast, we are able to do 16 damage, which is what we needed to do. because he has +1 defense. So we do take care of this Wraith on Wings, which places 6 progress. So we clear Grand, and then we place 3 more progress. So we are halfway there, 4 out of 8 progress on this quest stage. And then Dunhir can attack into the staging area and deal 3 damage. But now that I got those 2 orcs engaged with me, I'm actually considering killing one of them. It might make more sense. So let's do that. Yeah. So 1 more progress going on the quest. And we have 2 enemies in the staging area. So that's 2 damage on Minas Tirith, 14 out of 40. And okay, very successful. So let's go into the end of the round. So you raise your threat. Everybody readies. And then there's an action window, and I can play a very good tale. So I'm going to exhaust Gandalf and the Citadel Custodian to a very good tale. So that's 10 resources worth of allies being exhausted. I give my deck a shuffle, and then we're going to look at the top 5 cards. We can put 2 allies in play that equal 10 or less, and then discard the rest. So let's see what we get. Sneak Attack, Foehammer, Reforged, Legolas, and another very good tale. Okay, well, that kind of sucks to get rid of some of those events, but I will gladly swap out a Gandalf for a Legolas, and then getting rid of those events means I'm probably going to see more allies when I'm drawing cards, so that's good. All right, Gandalf is now in my discard pile, and we are going to go into the next round. Everyone gets resources, and let's draw a card. Gondorian Shield. All right, well, not terrible, because it can go on Aragorn. All right, so we're going to play Merry, so when he enters play, he gives all unique allies +1 willpower, so I have Legolas, Faramir himself. I mean, it's okay. It's just a good ally to get in, thematic. And then the shield will go on Aragorn, so he gets +1 from Andriel and +1 from the shield, so he's now defending for 4. And yeah, that's it. So let's go into the quest phase. We still have to discard cards till we get an enemy. There we go. One of those little orcs are back. And there's definitely a decent amount of threat in staging. We have 12 threat in staging before we reveal a card. Making progress does not matter because there's no active location. And it was nice to clear Grand in the combat phase like that, so we don't have to have his effect go off. So let's send Eowyn for 6, and then Aragorn for 3. So that's 9, and then Merry for 4. He gets his own boost, and then Aragorn's boost. The Envoy is questing for 3, and let's send a Soldier of Gondor, who is also questing for 3. So when it's all said and done, we are sending 17, and we get, okay, the War Mumak. I was waiting for one of these guys to show up. So, of course, absolutely terrible. Takes 3 rounds to kill it unless you have a way just to discard it. So, okay, but the good news is we don't have to damage Minas Tirith. And now let's travel to the Siege Tower, especially because I just revealed a Mumak. I was kind of hoping I would end up with those in my discard pile somehow, and I would just not have to shuffle the discard pile back in. But since I just revealed a Mumak, what the heck? Let's travel there, and then now we have to shuffle in discard pile and discard cards so we get enemy. Don't be another Mumak. It's not. It's an Orc of the Eye, so it has archery, and then the when revealed doesn't trigger. It's a 40 engagement, 2/3/1/3. Okay, that's easy fodder for Dunhir to kill up in the staging area. All right, well, 6 enemies in play. That's fun. Okay, and archery 3, because the Mumak has 2, and the Orc has 1, and the Siege Tower does not, because it's my active location. I will engage 1 enemy, because that's all I can engage. Oh, man. Yeah, okay. I guess I'll grab the Orc that we just revealed, and I got archery to deal out, so 1 on Merry, 2 on Legolas. I'm not going to use the Honor Guard to stop any of the archery because I want to keep somebody from unexpectedly dying in case a shadow does something. So let's defend with Denethor, and the shadow is nothing. Okay, he's fine. And then this guy is just attacking for 2. Let's defend with the Defender of Ramas. Nothing. Okay, so we're fine there. So I could have used the Honor Guard, but I didn't know that. All right, easy to kill these guys. So let's see. Well, first of all, Dunhir can attack up into the staging area. I still can't kill that one guy that it takes 6 to kill, but I can attack for 5, which does 3 damage to the Mumak. And 3 damage is all I'm allowed to do. So let's do that. I'm going to try to kill this Mumak. So 3 damage to the Mumak, and then, yeah, plenty of characters ready to kill these orcs I'm engaged with. And the thing is, I thought this would make me advance, but it doesn't. I have an active location. So that 3 threat worth of enemies is just going to clear the siege tower, and I forget to flip the die back on the quest. It's not going to matter because next round I will still just need to kill 3 threat worth of enemies to advance, but the die is going to be wrong from now on. I forgot to rotate it back to 5. So I thought maybe instead I'll kill that little orc just to get another progress on the quest up in staging, but in the end, I decide, no, I'll just do it the way I was going to. 3 damage on the Mumak, kill both the enemies engaged with me, which will clear the active location with the progress I get from killing them. And then because Legolas participated in one of the attacks, I didn't really mark who attacked who. I get to draw a card thanks to Legolas's ability. So let's go into the next round. My threat is at 30. Minas Tirith is going to take 4 more damage because there's 4 enemies in staging. Legolas draws me Gandalf. The next turn, I draw an Envoy of Pelegir, which I will put in play with Denethor's resources and give him a resource right back. And then we'll go into the quest phase, and all I got to do is kill 3 threat worth of enemies to advance to the next stage. Shouldn't really be a problem. If I get another Mumak, that could be bad. All right, so we have 18 damage on Minas Tirith, and now we need to discard cards until we get an enemy. The top one, okay, here it is. The Black Serpent, he's terrible. So 38 engagement, 4 threat. Cannot have attachments or be attacked by more than 1 character at a time. And then when revealed, he's going to make an immediate attack. This is the guy who ended one of my playthroughs. He killed Denethor. But he was not revealed, so he does not make an attack against me, but there is 17 threat in the staging area. So that's a lot. You need to be able to quest for a lot. So I'm going to be sending Aragorn and Éowyn and Merry and some Gondor characters 23. Yes, 23. So I'm 6 ahead. That's probably too much. I can't place progress. So let's make it 3 less. No, let's make it 20. No. See, there's a treachery that deals damage to exhausted characters, so that's why I'm trying to send the least amount of characters as possible. All right, we start out with a Fell Beast, so that definitely has to go on the Witch King, so that's 1 threat. He has minus 10 engagement, but that's not going to matter. It surges into the city wall, so if that's the active location, damage that would be placed on Minas Tirith is going to instead be placed there, and if it ever gets 4 damage, we have to raise our threat by 3. Okay, well, speaking of threat, my threat is at 30. I do not want to travel there because I actually want to place the progress from killing enemies. So let's see if I can kill 3 threat worth. I can, because since I have 30 threat, the little orc comes down to me naturally, and then I can grab this champion of Harad or whatever it's called. So that is going to be 3 threat worth of enemies. Okay, I have archery 2, I'm going to put that on Dune here, and then if this Harad champion does not get a shadow effect, he's either going to make another attack or I have to damage Minas Tirith. So let's defend with Denethor. There is a shadow. It's discard and attachment. Okay, well, I have another steward in hand and I have reforged. So once again, this doesn't really matter that much. I think I will get rid of visionary leadership, and then I'll just plan on reforging it right back later. Okay, getting attacked for 2 by this little orc. Let's have Aragorn defend it, and then he'll be able to attack it right back thanks to Andril, and there is a shadow if this attack destroys a character. Okay, it absolutely does not, and then Aragorn can kill it, so there's going to be one of my progresses. And then, like I said, I should have needed to kill the other 2 threat enemy to advance. But let's just advance now. You definitely can see I have the ability to kill that enemy. Here we go. This is pretty epic. 4A, Rohan has come. When revealed, we're going to set the Witch King aside out of play, and then we're going to search our top 10 cards for an ally that matches the sphere of a hero I control, and I can put it into play, and then give my deck a shuffle. All right, the Witch King has been drawn off by the horns of Rohan, and now let's take a look at my top 10 cards, and let's see what ally I get here. Definitely not going to have a problem finding an ally, but which one? Oh, okay, well, there's Angbor the Fearless. That's awesome. Citadel Custodian, the Herald of Anorian, a Soldier of Gondor, the Knight of Belfast, and Pippin. Great choices. I think we'll put in Angbor the Fearless. So he quests for, well, it's a base of 2, but he's going to get all the boosts, and then if I have a threat of 40, he doesn't exhaust, and he gets +2 attack. So he's amazing. He showed up with Aragorn on the fleet, so that's awesome to get him in play. Okay, and then side 4B says progress that would be placed on the stage by questing successfully is instead distributed as damage among enemies in play. Rohan's gonna charge over these enemies. It's so much fun. It is so awesome. And then at the end of the quest phase, we are going to advance to the next stage. All right, so here I am finishing up combat. So I should have already killed that enemy that was engaged with me. And then Dune here is once again going to attack into the staging area and deal 3 damage to that Mumak. So that Mumak is 3 hit points away from death. Legolas finds me another copy of Steward, and let's go into the next round, and I'm planning on making some damaging progress. And speaking of damage, I should have put 2 on Minas Tirith. I'll remember in a moment. All right, we draw Pippin, so he's going to be questing for at least 2, and then he readies and gets +2 attack when I engage an enemy at a higher engagement cost. Now let's play Reforged, so I can spend spirit resources to pull an attachment out of my discard pile and play it. So we're going to play Visionary Leadership with Reforged. I'm going to move a resource over to Éowyn with Denethor's ability, because she has the Gondor trait. And then, yep, we're going to drop a G, so Gandalf is coming in. I'm going to really need him this turn, so let's spend Aragorn's resources and a couple of Denethor's. Whoa, there goes a roller. All right, we're going to have him draw me 3 cards, so let's see what 3 cards we get. I don't need to drop my threat. I don't need to deal damage. Sweet. All right, we got another Spear of the Mark, so now Dune here is attacking into the staging area for 7, which is really awesome. He could actually kill that Black Serpent, which, you know, since he's my Rohan hero, having him attack into the staging area and killing the Black Serpent would have been really thematic, but trampling him to death is also going to be really thematic. Okay, and then we also got another Soldier of Gondor, so let's search our top 5 for a Gondor ally. There's a Citadel Custodian that we can play for free, so let's do that. I'm going to give my deck a shuffle. And then we are going to commit characters to the quest, but I am not sending Éowyn. I want her to be ready in the combat phase. So I'm just going to try to send what I think is the least amount I need to send to deal as much damage as possible. So if I send Aragorn, the 2 Custodians, Pippin, Angbor the Fearless, Merry, that puts me at 19, and I'm currently up against 11. And then I have Faramir if I need to boost. Okay, that should be good. I sent 6 characters. All right, here's me remembering. Oh yeah, the damage from the 2 enemies in the staging area at the end of the round. So we're at 20 out of 40. And we reveal an Orc of the Eye. Perfect. 1 more enemy for me to trample. Okay, so I either have to deal 2 damage to a hero or 2 damage to Minas Tirith. Let's put 2 damage on Aragorn. So at the moment, I'm currently going to do 6 damage. Let's use Faramir, and we're going to make it 12 damage, which is enough take care of everything. So Rohan came in and absolutely trampled every enemy in play, including the Black Serpent and a Mumak. So that means I get to reduce my threat by 4. So we are going to be going into the final stage of the game with no enemies in play, right? Right? What's this? Oh, right. These Haradrim soldiers that snuck through the gate. They make an immediate attack when they engage me. All right, let's take a look at the final quest stage of the game. So here we go. It is 5A, Fighting in the Field. When revealed, the first player adds the Witch King to the staging area, sorcerer side face up. Then he searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a fell beast and attaches it to the Witch King if able. I just set it aside with the Witch King when he flew away. Shuffle the encounter deck. Other players would reveal an encounter card. All right, let's take a look at the sorcerer side of the Witch King. So 50 engagement, 6, 6, 6, 14, Nazgul, sorcerer. Only the engaged player can declare attackers against the Witch King, and then forced, at the beginning of the encounter phase, the Witch King engages the first player, then it makes an immediate attack. Okay, then 5B, 20 progress needed. The Witch King and shadow cards dealt to the Witch King are immune to player card effects. Forced, when an enemy attacks and destroys a character, deal 1 damage to Minas Tirith. This stage cannot be defeated unless Aragorn is in play and the Witch King is in the victory display. If we defeat this stage, we win! All right, let's kill this Witch King. Okay, let's travel to the walls. So when Minas Tirith would take any damage, it goes here first, and then if we ever get 4, we got to raise our threat. No problem. So now it's the engagement phase. So the Witch King will engage us, and it's going to make an attack. And if you don't kill this thing because of the fell beast, it'll fly right back up to the staging area, and it's +1 to all of its stats. So this is going to be a 7 attack against Gandalf. Yes, the White Wizard versus the Witch King, and Gandalf lives. All right, awesome. No shadow effect. So Gandalf takes 3 damage, and now we can optionally engage something too. I don't have to. These guys make an immediate attack, but you know what? I want to clear the field. I want to get rid of all the enemies. So let's engage one of these soldiers, and they're going to make an immediate attack. So it's an attack of 4. The Defender of Ramas can handle this. So yeah, let's do that. And then the shadow is +1/+2 if it has the Harad trait. So that is going to kill the Defender of Ramas. Okay, so I did lose a character finally. First time this game I've had a character destroyed. So Overcome by Grief will get attached to a hero. And then if another character gets destroyed, that means Denethor has to exhaust, and he can't ready to the end of the round. Okay, let's get attacked again. So the Witch King is attacking for 7. I'm going to have Denethor defend. Ill Fate is the shadow. So that means Denethor was defending for 5. So he could die, which would be thematic, right? But I'm going to choose not to let him die. So I'm going to have the Honor Guard keep him barely alive. So he's not quite dead yet. And then we have another attack of 4 coming. So I think I will have Aragorn can defend this. So he's defending for 4 against 4. And then the shadow is either deal 3 damage to Minas Tirith, or it makes an additional attack. Okay, well, we will deal 3 damage, which just goes on the wall. And then I think I forgot he had the shield, so he actually took no damage from this attack, but I put a damage on Aragorn on accident here. And then Andril lets him swing back, so he's going to deal a damage back to this soldier. And then here we go, the big thematic moment. So Éowyn's going to declare herself an attacker. She's attacking for 1, but she's going to remove her helm, raise my threat by 3, and say, "But no living man am I. You look upon a woman, Éowyn I am, Éomun's daughter." And she's going to give herself +9 attack. So she is attacking for 10 against the Witch King. We're going to need some help, though, but that's all right. We got lots of it. So a few Gondor characters are going to kick in their attack, and we are going to deal enough damage to kill the Sorcerer Witch King the same round we engaged it, sending him to the victory display, hitting this huge thematic note. I just love it. And the reason I didn't send her on the quest is because she readied after doing that big attack. And she still has the attack boost, so she is attacking for 10. She's also going to take out this Haradrim soldier while she's at it. Dune here is not going to be involved in any of the attacks with the enemies I'm engaged with, so he can attack up into the staging area for 7, and he can kill that last Haradrim soldier, and that means we are going into this next round with no enemies in play. We have cleared the field. Let's just make the progress we need to get the heck out of here. Minas Tirith takes no damage. That was perfect. We just need to make a lot of progress. And of course, we draw a Gondorian shield, thanks to Legolas. So glad to have gotten that 3rd Gondorian shield. I mean, what would I have done without it? Okay, let's go into the final round of the game. Okay, the final card we draw is a Foehammer. Not useful, but I will play this Knight of Belflas, and then he will pull the Defender of Ramas out of my discard pile. And because I can move a resource to Éowyn, we can put him into play as well. Might as well. Let's just keep building our army. It looks awesome. Nothing else I can really do. That's my discard pile. I am going to send a ton of willpower on the quest. I don't think there's any card that could kill me because most treacheries give me the option of placing damage on Minas Tirith, and we've only destroyed half the city. There's only 20 damage out of 40, so we are doing fine there. When it's all said and done, before I use Faramir, I am sending 48. All right, 48 seems pretty good. The card we reveal is Dread and Despair, Doomed One, and then discard an ally I control. It gets threat equal to the number of allies in my discard pile. All right, so at the last second, we get some heads thrown at us. The Defender of Ramas leaves again. That means we're going to have 3 threat against 48. So we clear the walls. We definitely placed 20 progress. Didn't even have to use Faramir. He's in the Houses of Healing right now, right? And that is a victory, folks. So only 20 damage on Minas Tirith was awesome. We did really good there. All right, let's look at the campaign resolution for defeating the Battle of Pelenor Field. It says we're going to add 1 Wraith on Wings per player to the campaign pool, and we've also earned those Esquire of Gondor and Esquire of Rohan boons. All right, well, that went really good the third try. So as you can see, this deck can sometimes just really cruise through this quest. I never really was in trouble, but I lost the first 2 games. So it does matter if you can get this swarm going and get the Gondor allies just out there doing what they do. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. This was a really fun quest to play. It's a really fun deck to take up against this quest. It works really well. And I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. And up next, we're going to check back in on Frodo and Sam as Sam attempts to find Frodo after he's been taken by some orcs to the Tower of Cirith Ungol. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.